right, thanks for joining us today. We are going to do a quick review and rate this figure from the upcoming House of X set. We're going to rate them on casual play and on competitive play. The figure that we're looking at today is Cypher. He is number 005. Let's get right to it. All right, so Cypher is coming in with the Hellions, New Mutants, Quiet Council, X Factor, X Force, and X-Men keywords. He is 35 points for 3 clicks of life. He has improved targeting, hindering, and characters. He has one trait. It's Barrier Toughness. When Cypher uses Barrier, after resolutions, you may knock back any number of opposing characters adjacent to his barrier markers 2 squares each. So that's a pretty cool defensive power. So not a trait, a defensive power. And we are going to look at how that plays out on the battlefield here in a second. But for 35 points, you're getting those 3 clicks. He is coming in with sidestep and a 7 movement, a 9 attack TK, that special defense power with 17 defense, and then 1 damage with perplex. So a pretty good support character. With the sidestep, he has some maneuverability to help with the placement of his barrier, so he can get a line of fire to where he wants. That improved targeting, hindering, and characters is going to be very useful with his special barrier. Being able to improve targeting through characters, putting the barrier behind or around them will help out with all kinds of options on the battlefield. And then perplex is one of the main things that you want on one of those support figures. So I really like the point value, really cool special defense power, and let's take a look at him in a little bit more detail. All right, in this example, we're going to take a look at just Cypher by himself, and we have Claw over here. There are walls around the corner, but with Cypher, he can see Claw right where he's at, so they both have a line of fire to each other. Now, if he throws up his barrier, he could barrier, since he has that improved targeting characters, he can barrier right through Claw and put his first barrier marker here behind him. Now, from there, he could then knock back Claw, and you have different options. So if you wanted to knock back from this square, you can knock him back 2, or you could knock him back from here and knock back 2 that way, or you can knock back from this one, knocking him diagonally back there. So you can knock him back here behind the wall so that you're protected. You can move him closer. You can knock him back from this diagonal square if you wanted him to move in, knock him back here adjacent to Cypher. So all kinds of options on how you can use that barrier and then knock back to your advantage. Okay, let's take a look at another example of the placement. All right, now you can also place the barrier this way. If you do this, you could knock back from this square. You could knock him into the other barrier square to give him some knockback damage. You can still knock him back from here to push him back that way. Or you could, again, knock him back from there into this diagonal, which would give him push and damage also. So a pretty cool way to give that knockback damage and leave him here all isolated with barrier around him. Now, on this example, we have the 2 opponents teamed up against Cypher. So we got Wizard and Claw over there. On that type of formation, here's a way that you could place the barrier. And again, since Cypher doesn't have range, barrier has a minimum range 4, so you can't throw it out there very far just as he is right off the bat with that 0 range, but it's still far enough to get some good options, and his sidestep will help increase what he can do if you want to move him a little bit and to get a little bit better placement of barrier. Okay, on this kind of deployment of barrier, you can knock back everybody that's adjacent to it 2 squares. So you could knock back Claw, knock him back from here. You could knock him back to that way to get him away from his teammate. You could knock him back from this barrier into the wall that's here to give him some knockback damage. Then you can knock back Wizard. You can knock him back from this square into this piece of barrier. You could knock him back from here down there to separate him from his teammate, or you could knock him back on the diagonal down to there to again get him away from his teammate. So a lot of options if you want to give damage or you want to reposition. We'll take a look at a couple more placements of that barrier just so that you have all the different ways you can do it. On this one, we have Gambit and Cypher teamed up together against Claw and Wizard. Let's take a look at this type of placement of barrier. So right now, Wizard is adjacent to Gambit, but you might want to break that up without having to do a breakaway roll. So you could use Cypher's Perplex on Gambit if you wanted to do some type of follow-up attack. Then you can place your barrier. Now you could knock back Wizard, again from this square. You can knock him back 2 that way. You can knock him back from here to knock him back that way to get him away from Gambit. So that's one way that you can use it to break up adjacency of the figure that's trying to base up your ranged attacker. Okay, and I think we're going to look at one more example too. Okay, this same type of placement, we have Wizard who's moved in adjacent to Gambit, and you want Gambit to be attacking from range. So you can use your barrier to accomplish that. Again, Cypher can perplex up Gambit first. Then we can place our barrier like this. We could knock back Wizard from this square, knock him back 2, so he would end up out of adjacency and in a place where Gambit still has line of fire to him. So then Gambit can follow up with his attack onto Wizard, a ranged attack. And then Cypher in that kind of example is well protected behind his barrier. So I really like this character for the low point cost and what he can do. What I didn't mention in those examples is the team build that you can put around him. So as you know, knockback is placement, and there are a couple modern characters that are very competitive that deal damage whenever a character is knocked back into a square within a certain amount from those characters. So you're getting 2 knockback. On certain team builds, that means you could be getting 2 damage, 1 for each square of placement. And Cypher has that barrier, so you can isolate people from their teammates, or you can protect your own teammates and then knock back characters to give them damage. If you have a couple figures on your team that do that damage for each square placed, then you could be dealing out multiple damages for every square that that character gets knocked back into. So those 2 squares of knockback could turn into 2, 4, or even 6 clicks of damage. Low point cost makes him a good choice for multiple teams, plus the Perplex is like a bonus on top, plus the TK gives him enough options where I think he's going to be viable on competitive. So let's see how the ranking turned out here. All right, so for competitive, he's getting 4 clicks out of 5. And the only thing I think that's holding him back is the keywords. So X-Men team builds are not super competitive right now. Who knows once the new set comes out? But he doesn't have a lot of keywords that you can theme in with other competitive builds. So I think that's the only thing keeping him back from 5 clicks as a rating. On the casual side, he should find his way onto all kinds of X-Men teams and some other, maybe the other X teams also. because of his low point cost and what he brings for those 35 points. So let's see how that write-in turned out. For on the casual side, he gets a perfect 5 clicks out of 5. So all in all, I think it's a great character. Let me know if you agree down in the comments below and what you think of him. I really like him and can't wait to use him on some teams. All right, thanks for watching today. Check it out. If you dig what we do, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.